And what makes Elden Ring such a fascinating design document is its refusal to tell you how to play it. There is nothing more infuriating than when a game suggests lowering the difficulty for me when I'm stuck. I'll decide when I've had enough, thanks Kojima. Elden Ring never suggests using Spirit Ashes or trying a different build. When you're stuck, it gives you absolute silence, which means that every decision has to come from you. Are you going to leave and return stronger, or would victory only be satisfying if you did so at your current level? That's the psychological warfare Elden Ring employs. It's now entangled difficulty with your identity. In Dark Souls, if you found a boss unfair, you could blame the design, and in some cases you'd be right. And Elden Ring certainly has some egregious bosses, but now you have to consider if the difficulty is coming from you and your own philosophy to not use all the available tools. And that's a much more uncomfortable question to ask, because is it the game that's been unreasonable, or you? The no summon section of the community is the most, how should I phrase this, vocal example of this dynamic, where they've developed an internal hierarchy where playthroughs without Spirit Ashes are considered the real Elden Ring experience. And no one at FromSoft has ever validated the idea of a correct way to play, and yet this narrative persists because the community has imposed it upon themselves. While I personally don't understand this mentality, I do have a great respect for this kind of internal philosophy, though that respect swiftly comes to an end as soon as someone externalizes it and tries to impose those same restrictions on another player. This kind of player arrives with their own preconception about what constitutes real difficulty and legitimate victory. I'd imagine these morals are based on their time with previous Souls games, community pressure, or their own human experience. But Elden Ring's indifference to that mentality becomes a crucible which preys on their sunk cost fallacy. If they've been fighting a boss for 45 minutes with the same build, switching weapons would feel like wasted effort, and that's akin to admitting defeat. That's something we can all relate to, as absolutely no one likes to lose. But where I only admit I've been beaten if I rage quit the game and never return, they have a far more draconian view on what represents a victory. Yet within the game, it won't correct that false calculation. It just waits for you to either reach that conclusion or break through your limits. And that's where identity enters the equation. These elaborate codes of honor that these players construct are unconsciously chosen, and so a pure strength build becomes an aesthetic choice that doubles as a test and a way of saying I'm good enough to overcome this without that tool. And once they've established that narrative for themselves, the game's silence acts as validation, never rewarding pure playstyles or punishing those who overlevel, and so that very neutrality becomes permission for the player to judge themselves.